Divinity runs through you as you run through divinity. Divinity is you and you are divinity. All there is here and now is divinity, is presence, is divine presence. And this divine presence, in essence, is an unpointed awareness, pure awareness, pure potential, yet to be born, all-knowing but unknowing of itself in experience, because as pure potential it cannot contain experience. So it takes on other forms, it takes on form in order to have experience. And so pure awareness, pure potential, pure consciousness it points itself through its expressions. So pure consciousness gives birth to all forms of consciousness, to all forms of life. So this is awareness pointing, this is awareness shining a light, a single beam of light from itself, from its source. So human beings, we are, just like other life forms, we are pointed awareness. Awareness points itself through us, and we extend the pointing of awareness through what we see. What we see is the extension of pure awareness seeing itself. It's coming through us, through our eyes, what we are seeing, through our body, what we are doing. So we are extending awareness and informing it of what it is, because we are not separate to that awareness, so long as we remember that. So for me it's all awareness, it's all consciousness. I say for me because although this is universally the case, different people use different words for it. Some people distinguish between consciousness and awareness. To me, there's pure consciousness, there's pure awareness, they equate to one and the same. And that pure essence of consciousness, of awareness, steps itself down into lower forms of consciousness, lower forms of awareness. And as I say lower, essentially I mean denser, ones that can crystallize into form in order to have an experience amidst other form, amidst and in a world of form. So this pure awareness, this pure consciousness, this is divine presence. And this is where we are here and now, because this is all that exists here and now. This is oneness. And pure consciousness, pure awareness, oneness. As I've said before, what part of oneness can be different from oneness? If all that is one, how can any part of that be separate? It's not, it's one. It's always eternally, forever, here now, one. And I think that's something we need to bridge, the eternal, the forever, and the here now. Often we think of here now as a fleeting second, a fragment of time. But actually if we can seep into here now, we actually dissolve through time and space and touch eternity. Because eternity is timelessness, the absence of time. And this is where we are when we're present. When we are present, we are presence. This is divinity touching itself. This is us aligning with the divine we are. And in the last video, it talks a bit about spirit being at the head. I don't mean the physical head, I mean like at the top. Spirit is in charge. In charge, it's charging, it is the life force, it is the charge. Spirit is in charge. Not like a petty human in charge of another human, not that sort of petty in charge. It's like a in charge, in life, in your life. You are in charge, in life force. So anyway, spirit is in charge, and it filters down. Divinity is in charge, and it filters down. I just like divinity, spirit, pure awareness, pure consciousness, God, love, true self. To me, these are all the same thing. And this essence, which is all of those things, filters down through the layers of our mind and out and into the physical manifestation of our physical lives and our worlds as we play them out. Our world as a whole, but often individually, our individual lives as we see them play out. And if here and now is all there is, and divinity is that presence here and now, divinity is presence, here and now is presence, then how do we feel our divinity? How do we feel our presence? Well, and can we only feel it in spirit or mind or physical? Where do we feel it? How do we feel it? Well, essentially, if divinity is presence, if you are presence, then the way that we feel who we are is to be present. Is to be present. So in becoming present, we align with presence. And this is who we are. In learning to be here and now, we become here and now. In learning to see clearly our essence, we can live from that point of essence. So in many ways this is aligning to spirit, but aligning to spirit can happen at any point in that spectrum, from pure consciousness down through its expressions and its manifestations. Aligning to spirit is being present at any point on that spectrum. So just because the body is separate and the mind might think that who you are is this body composite identity, doesn't mean the body is not divine. That's not the body's fault, that's your mind's fault, your mind for misinterpreting that law of spirit through mind, body. If you think your body is anything in itself separate from spirit, that's not the body's fault, that's your mind's fault for misinterpreting life, for not seeing how it truly works, because how it truly works is spirit manifests down through the worlds, through the forms, through the minds and into the body. And everything is this. Everything has been manifest through this process. Everything that is real. And so what I'm saying is that although we can misunderstand ourselves and attribute or equate the body and the mind with self at the expense of spirit, which we forget, although we do that, that doesn't lessen the divinity of the body, the divinity of the mind. Because divinity, with it, we're given the choice how to use it, how to express it, because we are divinity expressing itself. So don't blame divinity, don't neglect divinity just because you don't understand it and you've abused it. Don't deny God because you don't know what God is, because you don't know what life is. Learn to see your life, and then you will know God. And because true essence of self is presence, all we need to do, wherever we are, so whatever we perceive ourselves as, whatever we think we are, wherever we are in life, all you need to do to know yourself is to be present. Because when you are present and you really look, you really stop to see, to be here now, if you can really be present, then what you thought was you dissolves into something far beyond thought. If you can be present to the body without labelling it, then you can feel its divinity. If you can be present and open in mind by perceiving what is around you without mental labellings and boxings, if you can just perceive, if you can just see beyond needing to understand seeing, then you touch your divinity. So it can be, you can feel your presence at a body level, you can feel presence at a mental level, and you can feel presence at a spirit level. And this is the ultimate, to feel the presence of spirit you are. This is when you come close to knowledge of true self. You start to experience it on a spiritual level, on a subtle level, but also continues to run through form, which, if anything, is heightened in its beauty because you see its purpose. So we are divinity running through experience, and our experience is running through divinity. Experiences run through us as we run through experience, you know. It's like because it's all one and the same thing. There's no separation. There is just spirit playing itself out through a dance of form and apparent separation in order to learn what it is. First, to forget what it is, in order that it can define an aspect of itself, and then in defining and crystallizing an aspect of itself, it starts to feel, okay, I've reached the limit of this expression. So if you've reached the limit of a certain expression, it takes on a new form. It dissolves into the next expression, or it dissolves. Spirit previously held in form dissolves back into itself. So you can align with who you are on any level, on the physical, mental and spiritual. But in order to do that on the physical and mental, you have to know the spiritual. So always it comes back to this. It comes back to knowledge of yourself as spirit. And we live in a world where mind is prioritised, and it's often a mind that is programmed and programs itself, because we are responsible, to see in terms of separation, to forget spirit and to forget spirit as the witness and let the physical be the witness to what is true. So looking from a physical perspective, we witness separation, we witness individual parts. Some individual parts have more, some individual parts have less. There's no perspective in that, there's no holism, there's no nothing holy. There's no divinity in that, because we've missed. And so long as the mind is identifying with body instead of standing under spirit, then we're far away from ourselves and everything can seem quite meaningless and hopeless. So presence, the practice of presence, is about going beyond the mind to see yourself. All the mind is, the mind of its true nature, the mind is a clear filter for spirit to work through. It's just that we've placed all sorts of constructs and social conventions and individual understandings as a filter between spirit and what we see as manifest form. So we've got spirit, pure essence coming through into manifest form. What is it coming through? Well, it's coming through, like scientists traditionally think that consciousness is stuck in the brain. It's not. Consciousness runs through the mind. Consciousness runs through the mind, which is our perceptual filter. And if our perceptual filter is clouded, then we can't see spirit in our lives. And this is what we mean by working on ourselves. We're looking at our perceptual filters. We're looking to see if they are helping us to create the love that we are in the world, or they are obscuring that. Are they perpetuating an idea of separate and false sense of self? It's not false if you see it as an extension of the source, but in its own thing. It doesn't exist. It's non-existent. If you're not connected to spirit, when you die, all that you thought was you dies. If you're connected with spirit, if you know your true essence is spirit, when you die, well, what happens? Your individual personality may fall and fade away, but who you know you are goes on. It goes on turning, it goes on being. Because how could being ever not be? It's eternal, it's here now, it's presence. So to feel it, we are present beyond the filters of the mind. It's one of those analogies which is used a lot. It's like a window or a mirror. You're cleaning that. You're cleaning all the perceptions that you have created through your experience of being on the earth so far. We're clearing them. It's not to say we're throwing away patterns that have helped us survive. All these patterns that we have that prevent us from seeing spirit have been necessary in helping us to survive to this point. It's just, what are we surviving for? Okay, so you are born, you grow, and you learn how to survive in the world, and then you get to a certain point, and what do? Do you continue that mechanism of survival based on fear? No. Well, you can do, but we are surviving for a reason. We survive, we create that understanding of how to survive in an apparently volatile world, in order that we may thrive, in order that we may know our love and experience our love and return to our love. So this is what we are here for. And we are here for this. We are here for the experience of the divinity that we are, and we are here to unite with and become this and be this divinity. And the only becoming, I mean, it's this often people talk about the difference between becoming and being, and I think we can get locked in this idea that we're becoming divine, but then we're placing divinity outside of ourselves. We are always divine. Divinity is what animates us. Divinity is what makes my hand move. You know? Divinity is consciousness. Consciousness is what makes my hand move. And if I'm present, I'm becoming conscious of consciousness. I am becoming conscious of consciousness, aware of awareness. And if I am consciousness, I am awareness. And becoming aware of that is becoming aware of myself. So this is who you are. You are consciousness, you are awareness, you are presence, you are divinity, you are God, you are love, you are light, you are source. Pure essence. Having an experience. And consciousness is not limited to your brain, to your mind. Consciousness runs through every cell, every aspect of who you are. Consciousness runs through. And you can return to that consciousness through clearing your own way back to it. We needed to forget it in order to have an experience of something else. But when that doesn't work, we begin to make efforts to remember who we are again. And this is the journey. So we have to forget to remember. We have to have one side of the duality to have the other. And yeah, this is what's happening in the world. The play of consciousness through us. Becoming conscious of consciousness. We are becoming aware of ourselves and aware of our divinity. And bringing it into the world as we bring the world back to spirit.